I want to give a big warm welcome to Sarthak. He is an active community member in Digital Overdose and will be presenting for us today. Take it away, Sarthak.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Eden and Atomic. So today I'll be talking about the zero trust model and the impostures that are among us. So here's a basic who am I about me. My name is Sarthak Taneja and I work as an information security engineer. You can find me on the mentioned Twitter and discount accounts. So here we go. So Zero Trust model was created by John Kinderberg. During his tenure as a vice president and principal analyst for forestry research, he realized that the existing security models operate on the outdated belief that everything inside a network should be trusted. But as we all see that this model is broken and nothing inside the network is trusted for now. So the zero trust model recognizes that trust is a vulnerability. Once on the network, users including threat actors and malicious insiders are free to move laterally, access or exfiltrate whatever data they are not limited to. Remember, the point of infiltration of an attack is often not the target location. Under this broken trust model, it is assumed that the user's identity is not compromised and that all users act responsibly and can be trusted. So, why a zero trust model is needed? A zero trust model uh, comes in place when there are so many critical security appliances in our and we need a single person to manage each and every tool. So, with the modern workforce becoming increasingly on the go, accessing applications from multiple devices outside of a business perimeter, enterprises have adopted a verify then trust and then trust again model, which means if someone has the correct user credentials, they are admitted to whichever site, app, or device they are requesting. This resulted in an increasing risk of exposure, dissolving what was once trusted enterprise zone of control. But to remain competitive in the businesses needed a zero trust model architecture able to protect the enterprise data wherever users and devices are, while also ensuring that applications work quickly and seamlessly. This is the quote I love about zero trust model, and like it is a summary of entire zero trust model, that zero trust is not about making a system trusted, but instead about eliminating the trust. Now we will discuss about the imposters that can be in our network. So the first point is insider threats. By insider threats, I mean that they can be both gruntled and side gruntled employees. Gruntled employees can be ex-employees or the employees planted by the competitors of the business. Side rental employees can be people who are temporarily unhappy with the organization. So, for example, how they are threat to our organization is, suppose there is a person who is unhappy with the management due to some X so and so reason. He just quickly creates a VBS script which pulls data out of what we can do is we will have a application control appliance such as Carbon Black or Bitnine Contrast working. So that person have to take the necessary permissions or approvals from the management. Otherwise, what he can do is he can
Uh-oh, everyone. Give us a second. The stream seems to have broken. We'll be back in a second. Oh, it has in fact not broken.
all good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was discussing about the application controls appliances. So suppose we have a like Carbon Black in place. So what it does is it tracks and monitors down the every application which is accessed, modified, or executed by the end user. So if a it will be blocked by the application control. So how it is related to zero trust is zero trust believes in that no one should be trusted. Like it eliminates the trust factor as I discussed before. Devices can be trusted and infected both. Using devices, an attacker can move laterally on the network. Applications can be trusted and compromised both. So we come to SASE. SASE is Secure Access Service Edge, also pronounced as SASE. Before diving into the specifics of SASE, it's important to understand a bit of background on this new term. Existing network approaches and technologies simply no longer provide the levels of security and access control. Digital organizations need more levels of security and access control as we are evolving every day in the terms of security. These organizations demand immediate, uninterrupted access for their users, no matter where they are located in the world. With an increase in remote users and software as a service applications, data moving from the data center to cloud services, and more traffic going to public cloud services to the main data centers and branch offices is increasing every day. So SASE comes in place. So basically, I can share a document which is a SASE, and there is a one Gartner report published in August 2019 named as the future of network security in the cloud. I'll be posting all the resources regarding SASE and the zero trust model. So with so many similar terms and acronyms floating around, it's important to make sure you understand what a vendor is actually talking about when you are discussing solutions. So there comes three more terms as you can see: ZTNA, ZTA, and zero trust model. So zero trust model is traditional model. It evolved into the zero trust access model, then finally into the zero trust network access model. So the concept of zero trust came because the old network security model of inside means trusted and outside means untrusted no longer works. The zero trust model moves security away from implied trust that is based on network locations. Instead, it focuses on evaluating trust on a per transaction business. What we mean by transaction here is transaction is like basically flow of data, how data flows from different centers to devices to users. Then zero trust access comes in place. Zero trust access is about knowing and controlling who and what is on your network. Role-based access control is a critical component of access management, as we all know. Only by knowing definitely who a user is can be appropriate level of access be granted based on the role. The user can be employee, a guest, or a contractor, or maybe a threat to our organization. What is the role and what not? Network access rights does that role entitle them to? We need to know that. Unfortunately, ZTNA isn't the most obvious naming convention in the industry because although it's called Zero Trust Network Access, it's really all about brokered access for users. About brokered access, we will discuss in further slides. I'll be talking about cloud security access broker. For the so coming back to ZTNA, it's really all about brokered access for users to applications. So it might have been clearer to call it a zero trust application access, but for a better or worse, they decided to call it as a ZTNA. A key takeaway is that ZTNA is an element of the larger ZTA proposition. So how the SASE infrastructure works. So again, we have so many multiple technical terms. So we will start about, I'll start explaining every term one by one, then I'll correlate them with each other. So as we all know what WAN is, it's a simplest form collection of local area networks or other networks that communicate with one another. And we all know the largest WAN we use is the internet. We use it every day. So then we come to CSP. CASB is nothing but Cloud Access Security Broker, is an on-premises or cloud-based security policy enforcement point that is placed between cloud service consumers and cloud service providers to combine and interject enterprise security policies as cloud-based resources are accessed. Organizations are increasingly turning to CSB vendors to address cloud services, enforce secure policies, and comply with the regulations, even when cloud services are beyond their perimeter and out of their direct control. What we mean by beyond their perimeter and out of the direct control is we are talking about third-party risk here. The risk which does not directly come under our organization or management. Now we move forward to FWaaS, which is nothing but firewall as a service. It refers to a cloud firewall that delivers advanced layer 7 next generation firewall capabilities, including access controls, URL filtering, threat prevention, IPS and IDS with additionally DNS security. The concept of firewall as a service is not about simply virtualizing the appliances. It also enables organization to eliminate firewall appliances and simplify their IT infrastructure. Centralized movement from single console enables organizations to eliminate the challenges of change control, patch management, coordinating outage windows, and policy management. So now I'll try to correlate all these concepts so you don't get confused in between. So SASE is the convergence of WAN and network security services like CASB, firewall as a service, and zero trust model into a single cloud delivered service model. So basically, SASE is a package which consists of WAN and all the other network appliances, mainly CASB, firewall as a service, and zero trust. Zero Trust has all the other security appliances in it, like application control, IPS, IDS, and all. So SASE capabilities are delivered as a service based upon the identity of the entity, real-time context, enterprise security, compliance policies, and continuous assessment of risk and trust throughout the sessions. Identities of entities can be associated with people, group of people, devices, application services, IoT systems, or edge computing location. Uh, I'll now just reference a Gartner report, which expects that by 2024, at least 40% of enterprises will have explicit strategies to adopt SASE, up from less than 1% at a year in 2018. A SASE architecture identifies users and devices, applies policy-based security, and delivers secure access to appropriate application or data. This approach further allows us organization to apply secure access no matter where the user's application or device located. And that's the main goal of SASE. That's why we needed SASE. So this is our basic SASE structure. SASE's aim is to just blend these services and technologies to build a cloud-aware and cloud-based secure network. The SASE model is especially appealing to organizations that frequently use the cloud and cloud services or are on a path to the cloud, which are migrating to the cloud, that is. This includes distributed organizations, for example, those with branch locations and dispersed end users, as well businesses with IoT and edge deployments. So I'll just give you a quick benefits of SASE and how SASE can help your organization in several ways. So first, it can help you with the flexibility of the organization. With a cloud-based infrastructure, you can implement and deliver security services such as threat prevention, web filtering, sandboxing, DNS security, all at once. Then second, it helps us cut the cost of the appliances. Instead of buying and managing multiple point products, utilizing a single platform will dramatically reduce your cost and IT resources. SASE also reduces the complexity of the network. You can simplify your IT infrastructure by minimizing the number of security products your IT team has to manage, update and maintain, consolidating your security stack into a single cloud-based network security service model. So further, yeah. So coming to this point, basically people confuse that ZTNA goes parallel with SASE. but it's not ZTNA versus SASE, but it is ZTNA and SASE. They both work together. As you can think, SASE has a higher level design philosophy than ZTNA. They are not separate or competing network security models. Rather than ZTNA is part of an overall SASE structure. Note, however, that while zero trust implementation may be a short to medium term objective for network architects, SASE is a long term goal. Organizations may decide today that they buy into SASE approach and then move to slowly evolve their network. And network security starts towards the SASE model at the end of the goal. This will take time as designers move to replace outdated security technologies and better integrate those that remain. Note that moving to a SASE model both requires and enables a zero trust approach to the network security. It's a common misconception of the industry that deploying zero trust model is costly and complex. But zero trust model is not like a architecture where we need more appliances and more things in place, but it's mainly a ideology of the network or security architecture, how he thinks. He can integrate the existing security controls and models with the existing models so to implement the zero trust model. Next, there are like 5-step methodology to implement the zero trust model, which is identifying the protect surface, in which we identify the endpoints, data, application, infrastructure, and network topologies. You map the transaction flows, how data flows from one place to another, one device to another, and how devices are connected to each other. You build a zero trust architecture. There are some guiding principles to zero trust architecture, which I'll be discussing in the next slide. Then you create a zero trust policy. And after performing these 4 steps, you just monitor and maintain the architecture. So there are like these 4 main concepts to make the perfect zero trust architecture. You can utilize microsegmentation. Microsegmentation is nothing but the practice of breaking up security parameters into small zones to maintain separate access for separate parts of the network. For example, a network with files living in a single data center that utilizes microsegmentation may contain dozens of separate and secure zones. A person, program, or a device with access to one of those zones will not be able to access any of the other zones without separate authorization. Second, we come to MFA. We all know what MFA is, but MFA is evolving every day, just like the other technologies. MFA is basic building block of an intelligent approach to network security. Properly use it reflects the guiding principle of zero trust. Never trust, always verify and verify again and again. So MFA basically nowadays work on 3 basic factors. First is knowledge factor, which is something only the user knows, such as password, PIN, or pattern. A possession factor, something only the user has, such an ATM card, smart card, or mobile phone. And an inherence factor, something which contains a biometric characteristics such as fingerprint, retina scan, or face scan. Upon presentation, each factor must be validated for authentication to occur. Second, we come to the principle of least privilege. Like principle of least privilege is foundation of zero trust model. It is the practice of limiting access rights for users to the bare minimum permission they need to perform their work. Under POLP, users are granted permissions to read, write, or execute only the files or resources they need to do their jobs. In other words, the least amount of privilege necessary. Additionally, the principle of least privilege can be applied to restricting access to rights for application system and processes. Then we come to validate all points. Validating all endpoints is nothing but verifying devices which are connected to our network or they are trusted, and then verifying them in a iterative manner to check if they are compromised or not. If they are compromised, we contain them and then we respond to them. Next, I'll come to the guiding principles of zero trust. Zero trust is basically based on 3 basic principles. First one is verify explicitly, which is always authenticate and authorize based on all available data points, including the user identity, location, device health, service or workload user is having. Second, we come to use of least privilege access. I just explained the principle of least privilege, which is giving the just enough access or just in time access. Then we come to the most important part, assume the breach. As there are like many organizations which claim to be that they are very secure, we should always assume the breach. We should always work on the minimization of the blast radius for the breaches and prevent lateral movement by segmenting access by network, user devices, and app awareness. Verify all sections that are encrypted end-to-end. Use analytics to get visibility, drive threat detection, and improve your defenses. Then, according to Gartner report, the zero trust security market will grow from $19.6 billion in 2020 to $51.6 billion in 2026. So, why organizations is moving to the zero trust model? Because data security solutions are responsible for securing business databases. An organization database comprised of many sensitive data, PII, personal health information that is PHI, intellectual property that is IP, as well as payment card and financial information. Huge amount of data is generated every day across every organization in every industry verticals. Effective management and storage of business data is becoming critical day by day for IT and data security professionals. So I'll be concluding my talk, but before concluding, I'll like to specially thank the redacted Eden for having my back every time I was afraid of doing something, and all the DOvercon mentors for always helping me out and having my back. Uh, One more thing, uh, I have a confession that I suffer from imposter syndrome, and I admit it. I come forward with it, and I was reading a tweet in the morning today that lack of confidence kills more dreams than the lack of ability. Talent matters, especially at elite levels, but people talk themselves out of giving their best effort long before talent becomes a limiting factor. You are capable of more than you know. Don't be and give your best every time you do. Thanks.
Awesome. We've actually had a few questions come through for you. But first, I wanted to say awesome talk. Everyone is saying awesome talk. Excellent presentation, fantastic visuals, all fantastic. Ooh, and a face. Hi. We do have a few questions.
Thank you so much for that. It's so nice to see like such a well put talk, here. And thank you for giving a shout out to everyone that's helped you, and also tackling the topic of imposter syndrome. I know a lot of people, end up having issues with imposter syndrome, especially when it comes to talks and stuff like that, and in cybersecurity. Just about anyone could suffer from it. So that's really big to talk about. Thank you. On that note, Atomic, would you like to get us started with the first question?
Okay, I will. So the first question we've gotten, give me a second. Right. So what are some difficulties you face when implementing a zero trust model?
Okay. So the organization I currently work for is going towards a zero trust model. So the main difficulties we are facing is we are technologies upgrading day by day. So we have to remove the outdated security appliances every day and install new ones. So we need teams working on the deployment of security tools and tune them and maintain them in future.
Awesome.
Fantastic. All right. And then the second question is, do you personally find the zero trust model to be effective?
As I said, zero trust model is not a like an architecture or something everyone should follow, or it's not a necessity, but it's more like ideology.
Mhm.
Like, you should not trust your employees, you should not trust your devices which are in your network, you should not trust the applications you use on daily basis. Everything can be compromised, human devices and applications, everything. So why don't we take our precaution before anything bad happens?
Awesome. I
Do we have
think that's
anything else?
it.
That seems to be it.
Check. You have a lot of support in the YouTube chat, so be sure to check that out. But I think that's it for now.
Yeah.
No more questions have pulled in. If
Right,
there
so-
is any, we'll send them to you.